Guys, some prominent Republican women are starting to make noise, and the reason is they are getting concerned that the messaging in the final days here is not up to where it needs to be. Nikki Haley had some words, Megyn Kelly had some words. The state of this race, the final days, is starting to shape up and ship out as we approach election day. Let's see what Nikki Haley had to say, some criticism, some harsh words, and then we will discuss.
The Associated Press says as Democrats court Haley supporters, the former UN ambassador is still waiting to hear from Trump. When was the last time you talked to the former president?
Last time I talked to him was back in June.
So are you surprised that you haven't been deployed out to campaign, or have you volunteered to go out and campaign for him directly?
I mean, they're very aware that we're on standby. They know that we would be there to help. I've helped with some fundraising letters and text messages and those types of things. So we've done that. But look, we're on the same team. It is their campaign's decision on what he needs. In these last final days, it does not bother me at all. I think they need to do what they need to do to get across the finish line. I just think that they need to focus primarily on who it is they're talking to. You've got Americans who are absolutely going to vote for Trump. You've got Americans who are absolutely not going to vote for Trump. And then you've got a percentage in the middle who like Trump policies but don't like his style. That is what they need to focus on. So when you look at these things, it has got to be a story of addition. This is not a time to have anyone criticize Puerto Rico or Latinos. This is not a time for them to get overly masculine with this bromance thing that they've got going. 53% of the electorate are women. Women will vote. They care about how they're being talked to, and they care about.
There we go. So Nikki Haley with some harsh criticisms from the messaging in the last several days, some of that coming from that rally in Madison Square Garden. It's true. The Trump campaign has been hammering and driving the young male vote. They have been going on the podcast circuit and basically just, hammering and hammering and hammering over and over that demographic. And it seems like they've kind of given up on the women approach, which when you break down and you look at the numbers, is probably a horrific strategy because the gender gap is absolutely massive there. And if you listen to Nikki Haley, not only is the gender gap large, but actually women make up a larger percentage of the population anyway, or the voting population. So if 53% of the voting population is women, and then you're losing amongst women. This is just in one particular poll, but a lot of these numbers look like this for Harris. It's different state by state, of course. But if in the aggregate you are losing to women and you're losing by a wide, wide margin, and they make up a larger percentage of the population anyway, then you're going to want to target that. So it's almost, Trump still might win this election, right? Let's be clear about that. But Trump is doing this strategy, in Monopoly, where you have sort of you have Park Place and you have the really really expensive properties that typically, if you're the one that wins those most expensive properties, you are the one, or if you go and buy those properties, you're the one that wins the game. Because you just bankrupt everyone else and you just, you take all the money. And then you have some players that they basically buy the first thing they land on. They buy the cheaper properties and try to, buy up as many of those as possible. And it ends up not ever really being enough, right? It's like the people that just buy Park Place and whatever the other one is, you end up winning the game. So the Harris campaign is smartly going after the biggest chunks of the population, non-college educated white people, male and female, and just female voters in general. Whereas Trump is trying to drive in, the young male demographics and Latino voters and African American voters and Asian American voters. And these demographics make up small parts of the population. So if I had my money on it, I mean, I would be much more interested in running the Harris strategy as far as that goes. And so you have these prominent Republican women coming out and trying to drive this statement in the last couple of days. I don't know how they're going to be able to change that messaging with only, less than a week to go. This is Megyn Kelly basically singing a similar tune.
Trump was not well served by those around him last night. It wasn't a Nazi
She's
rally.
very
All that's
angry. She's doing like a very angry Republican woman thing these days. I don't remember her ever being this angry.
served by those around him last night. It wasn't a Nazi rally. All that's nonsense. But I'm telling you, even for me, and I voted for Donald Trump last week, it was too brotastic. Okay? It was. You're trying to win an election in which you're hemorrhaging female voters. Maybe when you present in front of hundreds, thousands at least, at Madison Square Garden, you clean up the bro talk just a little so you don't alienate women in the middle of America who are already on the fence about Republicans. Do they have no women advising their campaign? Is there no actual woman sitting behind the scenes coming up with the guest lineup and saying, let's just have a word with the guys who are going to be speaking about this isn't the bar. This isn't their living room. This is a campaign. This is politics. We're trying to get him elected. We don't need to rally the base or guys anymore. And it's not helpful, even if we do want to rally the base or guys, to go full off-color insults to different racial groups and so on. I get it. Trust me, nothing that was said offended me. I'm almost unoffendable. But I understand how this plays, especially with women. And it was an effed up choice. They took what was an amazing celebration of Trump, exciting and well-attended and hugely enthusiastic, and gave themselves a big black eye. This isn't about the insane media, which did, of course, what the insane media is going to do. This is about them giving the insane media all these headlines that undermined the main man, Donald Trump, who did exactly what he should have last night. You effed up. Hopefully you'll do better in the closing week of the campaign.
Hopefully, but it remains to be seen. And it does beg the question, going back to the original question from I think that's Brett Bayer there. Why haven't they talked to Nikki Haley, right? The only other Republican that was competitive in the primary for Republicans was Nikki Haley, and she was so competitive that even after she dropped out, she still got of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of votes across the remaining states that were there. There were people that were just like, it's Nikki Haley or nothing, and it's never Trump. She is potentially the missing piece to that puzzle, and she has been non-existent. This is the first time I've seen her in again, like months and months. And the narratives for this race are starting to shape up. They're starting to settle in. What's it going to be at the end of the day? Did they just, completely forget about women? Did they drive too hard on one strategy and not branch out enough? Did they, already assume that they were going to win anyway because of all these crazy things that happened with Trump, with the assassination attempt and how he's looking in the polls? And in some ways, it feels like, and Kyle Kulinski on Secular Talk says the Trump campaign in 2024 feels a lot like the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016, like this entitlement, like we've done it already, we've already won, like we're already entitled to this victory, and all of the polling says that. Look how we're doing on Polymarket, we're up to 65, 70% on Polymarket, a betting market. All the betting markets are in our favor, all the polls are in our favor, like we're entitled to this thing. But what if the polls are wrong this time, just in another direction? What if you didn't get enough women to vote for you? What if, you lost too many of your core demographics, which we're starting to see? So very, very interesting dynamic. The Republican women, maybe starting to see the signs on the wall there. Things are not going exactly how they'd expect in the final days. Timing is everything. Timing is crucial. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like and a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.